Okay, Cheryl, you're good.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. And for all of you that were on tonight, I so enjoyed it. As I've said over and over, I love the stories. But again, I think for all of us, it's just a great refresher, renewal on how good it feels to hear about other people's successes, how much it means to all of us that we get to be part of other people and the good things that happen to them. Uh, for many of you, I mean, you know me well, and if you're joining us for the first time, let me at least just give you a little background. My name's Cheryl Cortese. I'm a national marketing director with the Juice Plus Company, and I've been here for 33 and a half years. And basically, if I look at this organization, you're all my babies. So it's easy to love you all. Okay. But, when you think about it, the person who introduced this to me, Jeff Roberti, in search of and in striving for his own excellence, he out. And, very thankful that he did because it totally changed my life, that this would be my life and became my career and has been for so many years. But then in just each one of us reaching out and sharing with people, it's been such an amazement to me over all these years as to how many people you actually affect, how many people really become part of something that's greater than themselves because one person had the courage to reach out and invite. So, I want us to, especially at this time, we've now, I think, marked over a year of being in a most unusual situation in our lives, in our world. Life changed in a sense very quickly. And yet, I think the great thing about our community is we've grown even stronger. But at the same time, we don't want to forget that we have a real power as far as being able to stretch out and invite people to be part of this community, because people are not only struggling with the concern of protecting their health and that need for additional support from a supplemental income standpoint, but also just the joy of having a community that you is like-minded that you can stay connected to relieve some of that pressure that's going on today as far as isolation. So I'm happy to be here with all of you tonight, and I'm going to ask Maura Daniels, and I appreciate all of her team, Susie, Ham, all of you that shared with us tonight. And I'm going to ask Maura to come on and stay on with me and maybe just talk about some of the things that have been inspiring over the years. Because for all of us, we go through, there are times that are just exhilarating. Everybody's saying yes, that things couldn't be better. And then there are other times that are disappointing or challenging or frustrating. So you're working always at balancing those emotions. We talked a little bit last week about really the you part as far as your business is concerned. And that you part is very foundational and important. Our product certainly is one that has been really surpassed, you might say, the test of time, in that over and over and over, people have had great success and continue to have great success because it's just basic good food. Our business is one that has certainly stood the test of time, and not only and it has emerged as a superstar over and over and over. So really, we're still, focused on in this last week, this week. What about the you? What about you being the president and director of your own company? Because what was really an amazement to me was there is no limit to what this company, your company, can be over time. And that was something that I certainly took a little while to get a good picture of, but once I did, it just very exciting because you don't ever really arrive. You just grow up and help other people. So, Maura, maybe we can start, and I'm going to ask you just to share some things about what's been inspiring to you. What I know we have, Maura and I have been in leadership schools together. We do various things within our organization. Q School, which is as people grow up into leadership, we would all, from this organization, that leadership, which would have been SSCs, Qs, we would meet for, just really maximize that advanced training as far as our business and to hone our skills, you might say. So more just maybe you share a little bit and we'll go back and forth. Okay.
Okay. It just so happens that I was looking through some of my paperwork today to get ready for tonight's call and add to it. And I came across your uh, workbook for Q School. And it was the first Q School I ever went to. I only got to go to two because I learned so much, particularly at Q School, that I went from SSC to QNMD and then right to NMD within 2 years. But in this, the title of it is Power Up to the Next Level, Explore the Power of Positive Thinking and Creative Visualization as a Unified Team. And I, you started me down this path, Cheryl. I was always a positive person. I had always meditated, but it brought me into a new realm. This realm of being, as Robin Sharma says, this realm of being a positarian and really working at staying positive and understanding that when I'm positive, good things happen was started with you at Q School. And what is your famous line about your mind?
That you have to be the gatekeeper at the door of your mind. You've got to be the one that protects yourself from that negative input.
And that really affected me. That really gave me permission to say, gee, I don't feel so good when I'm with this person. I need to give myself a little bit of distance so I can play at my highest level. It's another thing you taught me is playing at your highest level. But it's all about the science that's around optimism and happiness and visualization and mindfulness and meditation. Meditation and mindfulness are the process, and confidence and success are the results. And I just can't tell you, I've become a Reiki master. That's another healing modality that I have in my back pocket, and I love that. But I love my Juice Plus business. It's taught me to be passionate and present and purpose driven. It's taught me so much. It's really molded who I am because I believe the best is yet to come. My business, it's been interesting in the last year, but my team and I are holding strong and we're growing. And it's an exciting time because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to come out of this. And when we do, oh my gosh, are we all going to be different people and so appreciative of the freedoms that we will have? Just think about how that's going to impact us. So I'm really excited about where we are. And thanks to you, Cheryl, you really, it helped corporate see what needed to change in the marketing plan, in the compensation plan. So that's very exciting. I'm just charged up and ready to go. I think my team is too, and they're doing really important work. We're all doing really important work. And if we're not educating and selling, we're not serving. Because as Hamilton said, as Cheryl, as you've said, our check is reflective of the number of lives we're helping. So, go at it, go strong at it. I think it's really important.
Well, I think if we were ever in a time where it is important to, support others, this would certainly be one. But I think also for all of us, it's like, how do we identify in ourselves? How do you monitor those things that pop up? It's like I'll call a little the gremlins or the negativity monsters, the negativity boogers. Well, those are around because it's really what happens to us. We get that feeding all day long. If you happen to be, and we want to know what's going on in the world, especially since we're a bit isolated at this point. And yet, even though that's lifting, it's still left its effects. But there's nobody reporting anything other than sensationalism, which often is not good news. So it's how do you protect yourself? How do you, when you meet with disappointment, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with fear? We certainly all have fears. There's that little underlying thing, you might even see in the back of your head, that certainly people have health fears now that they didn't have in the past. They have financial worries maybe that they didn't have in the past, or fear of what up. So I know, and I look back on even starting my business, that what do you put in the place of those things when they pop up? Frustrations. We talk about our marketing plan, and right now we couldn't be in a better place. I mean, I call it the relaxed pay plan. So, you want to make sure that you're real clear on the simplicity now, and we can go over that in the next week or so again, just to make sure everybody's real clear on the simplicity of our pay plan today. So, you're ready to run there. But for the most part, I find for myself that as long as I'm dealing with the little, negative monsters that want to come up in my head, then I'm usually good to go. As Moira said, it's really all mindset. It's all mindfulness. It's, when you realize that you can, and that was something we used to say early on in training. And if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you're right. And so it really is, belief. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about disappointments, and more if you anytime you want to, chime in with me. But if we think about it, the only thing that really, or the only reason that people step back from their business, or quit, so to speak, or put down that, that energy, that positive energy that creates the flow, is if they meet with a disappointment that they can't get over. And so it might be early on where somebody that you think the world of says, "What are you doing? Do you think that stuff works? You're not going to make any money at this." So, you really sometimes, and that's why they say that often your family's the hardest ones to get past, because they love you so much and they're so protective that they don't want you ever to be in a situation where you're not super successful. Or then, as they say, it's the one that maybe doesn't want to see you be successful because they might have to keep up with you. So, it can be things of that nature. So disappointments, really, they steal your opportunity. They steal your future. So it's, how do you recognize those things quickly? How do you get on top of them? How do you discipline your disappointments? Because if you can discipline your fears, your disappointments, and your frustrations, then everything that is out there, which is unlimited opportunity, becomes yours. You now can access that flow of unlimited opportunity. So you really can't allow anyone to steal your opportunity. That's including yourself. You can't steal your opportunity away from you. You have to be the monitors. Back to saying, you have to be the gatekeeper at the door of your mind as far as negativity is concerned. So if we're looking at how do you get past disappointments, how do you get past fears, how do you get past frustrations, because they're going to happen. So there are 3 areas of focus for that. If you're looking at propelling your business forward and you want to do it at a rapid rate, the first thing is going to be, what's the activity? And of course, you've heard me say it often, and I'm sure you've heard it from others: consistent paying activity. If you underline any word, it's be consistent paying activity. You have to identify the paying activities. Paying activities are telling the story about the product, telling the story about the business. I've said this before. I know Moira's heard this one. People are just, in my mind, a long line out in infinity, straight to the moon. I'm just going through the line. You interested? No, move out of the way. You interested? No, move out of the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I don't care about those people. It just means that they're not ready to hear. And I'm not in the business of convincing. Okay. So you want to just give people the option and keep going. What happens too frequently is that, especially in new team members, is we become, I guess, first of all, you're passionate about what you have to offer, and you want everybody to agree with you. And so we just feel like everybody has to agree, because we certainly love what we've come across, and we want to validate also that we're right. So we stop too long many times to try to convince someone who may not be ready to hear. So I'm going to encourage you, consistent paying activities, but go through the numbers. It's a numbers business. Also, as you look at that pay plan and you want to look at it and go over it with the person who introduces to you, whoever is working with you on a daily basis, and figure out, when do you want to be at that next position? What is the established goal timeline that you want to meet? There's something about it, and I didn't used to do this, but I started doing it not long after I began this business. I called it my treasure list, and I wrote down what my goals were, who I was going to talk to the next day. Treasure list meant wherever I was going to go to find treasure, which meant I needed a customer order or a new team member with customer orders. So you can do this though for everything. You can look at that pay plan and say, okay, when do I want to become a sales coordinator? I'm brand new. What's the time frame? Do I want to do it in 3 months? So if I'm going to do that in 3 months, when's the goal timeline for the QSC and the Partner Plus? And then all you do is break down the activity, consistent activity that has to go into it. And then the third thing, so we've got 2 things. We are going to do consistent paying activity. We're going to establish the goal timeline for that activity to occur so that you achieve those goals. But the third thing, and it's so important, is discipline your disappointments, because we've all had them. And Moira didn't, we haven't even discussed how we were going to go back and forth, but I'm going to ask you, Moira, have you met with disappointments since you've been doing this ever? You ever have any disappointments?
Yes, of course. And it's a funny thing, Cheryl, because I don't think you can fake your way through through disappointment. If you're disappointed, acknowledge that you're disappointed and kind of look it in the face and say, okay, I'm sad that, for instance, my mother was the first person to order Juice Plus, and she was the first person to cancel Juice Plus. So I was disappointed, but I kind of looked at it and said, well, I need to educate. That's on me. I need to educate my mother better. But in the meantime, as I'm doing that, I'm going to start looking for things I'm grateful for. And I'm going to keep my positive mindset up and my positive my positive attitude and my enthusiasm, so I can keep going and talk to more people and keep my activities at a high. Because from consistency, the mastery of consistency is confidence. And I know I am a recruiter. I know I am a leader, and I can build leaders, and I can teach people to be. You told me that, Cheryl. You told me I'm good at what I do, and I can teach you to be good at it too. And I use your line all the time because you taught me well. I can teach other people to be leaders too. And that's what I'm in this business for. I'm in the business to build leaders and to help people get healthy.
Yeah. And Jeff told me the same thing when we got started. He said, Cheryl, just tell people, I'm good at this and I can make you good at it too. And I thought, boy, I better get good at it fast. I don't want to lie to these people. So, but it really is and again, we're back to subconscious and subconscious thought. Because your conversation, you have more conversation, I think we said this last week, with yourself than anybody else in the world, and it's ongoing all the time. If your mind, if your subconscious is hearing a positive thought, then like, I'm good at this, I can make you good at it too. You're going to have to get good, even if you're not telling yourself that, because your mind is going to insist that you do, because it's hearing it all the time. And again, we're back to books like Power of the Subconscious Mind, Dr. Joseph Murphy. All of those things help you realize how that happens. So, and when you're talking about, everybody does get disappointed and down. It's just, how long does it take you to bring yourself back around to a positive state? So, and this is something Jeff and I, would train on or talk about for years, is that, how do you go from it taking maybe 30 minutes, or even in the beginning, it might have been days. And it could be personal disappointment, or it could be business disappointment. But how long does it take you to move through the process of getting past that and being above, being in a state that's positive. So if we're talking about three things, consistent paying activity, the goal timeline as to when you want to reach your next goal. And it's always good to have the goal that's right past the one that's immediate. So you're constantly stretching, you're constantly stretching. This is something that we've done in mastermind, sessions with people over the years. I've been part of mastermind sessions I was invited to. I put my own mastermind sessions together with my, immediate team, with other leadership. And it was to say, okay, what are the things you really want? And in what time frame do you want them? And you'll be surprised that, and I never thought this to be true, but when you write it down, there's a huge difference. It's something about your words, your eyes, your body, your mind, seeing those words written and the translation to your mind in that way. And that's been proven over and over too. So people who make lists, they tend to get those things done. And also there's a reward, just an emotional reward of being able to check it off as it was accomplished. It's a personal high. But let's go to activity. So we all reach the top position in the same way. Everybody starts at the same place. We all walk through those positions. And when you do, you can certainly turn around and share with someone else how you did it. So that's all training ever was about, was I got to, QSC doing this. I got to sales coordinator doing this. I got to national marketing director doing this. So the time in which you move through the positions is for you to decide. I wanted to move through, and I try to encourage people to move through quickly because they become the model and the story of what they're going to be sharing for the rest of their career. So I always encourage a new person, we want to move through quickly. If you learn to discipline the disappointments, then you can create and sustain really consistent productivity, and you then establish the goal timeline. And this is really the formula for success: is plan the activity, discipline the disappointments, and lay out the goal timeline. And we've often said this, and Moira's heard me say it many times, there's no place for negativity or negative self-talk in building a successful business or creating a productive business and an extraordinary life. Now, that's a big, tall order.
Yeah, that is.
There's no place for negativity or negative self-talk. How much negativity has come your way this year? Any negativity come your way, Moira? What about anybody else out there? You have any negativity? I mean, I feel like sometimes life changed so suddenly. It was just, you didn't even realize how much negativity you had to digest. And digest is more or less the word. And so, it makes sense to have a format of how you're going to step up out of that and how you're going to interrupt, and I mean it, interrupt the negative thought process and eliminate negative thoughts, because these things are not resourceful and they're not productive. So as we said, it's okay to get down, but you don't want to stay down. So,
and Cheryl, one of the things I think that that we can do is give ourselves permission not to watch the news. Give ourselves the permission to really work at figuring out what makes you happy and go there. Like if I get disappointed, I get up from where I am, typically at my desk in my office, and I walk outside. I go someplace else. I do something else, and then I can go back and refocus and appreciate what I'm grateful for. And that brings me right back.
And so what Moira is doing and what she's telling you, she's using a physical technique to change her state. Okay. And so you can find out, if just test yourself. Okay. What does it take? Certainly for me, it's also, I've got to move. I've got to get up and do something a little different. I've also found, for me, one of the things that really makes a difference is that if I am discouraged or down or disappointed, I have to have a situation where I have to do a presentation for somebody else. They've either got a new person that they want me to talk to, or I call and say, who do you need for me to talk to, whatever. And of course, there are enough people now today in our business I could do that 24 hours a day. But it was always, I had to put myself in a position where I had to be up. I couldn't go on to a call, or I couldn't go on to a presentation and, not be on top of my game. So many times when you force an activity, it brings you back around from a negative state. So it's important to think about, or to really look at, what would it take for you? For some people, it's exercise. For some people, it's like for me, I know that activity of me doing something for somebody else, and it might not even be from a business standpoint, but if I do something for somebody else where I have to show up in support of that person, it takes me out of that state. So again, it's important to look at what it is that does it for you, so you can employ that at a time when you might have too much negative energy go into a time where you could be productive. So I know for me, many years ago, I stopped taking the newspaper when they had a newspaper, okay? And I turned off the television and I didn't turn it back on. That's been about 25 years ago. I've not missed anything major that's happening. And I've had to really monitor myself this year, especially when it comes to picking up social media, things of that nature, that influence me in a way that are not best for my own happiness, as Moira said. So as Moira said too, decide what is really important to you, what brings happiness. And you might even make a list in your gratitude list. What are the things that not only you're grateful for, but check off those things that are happy feelings. List happy feelings so that you know where those places are that you can go to pick those happy feelings back up again. And this is something that's huge, this next one, and Maura alluded to this as well. Make a decision not to worry. This has probably been one of the biggest challenges in my life. Okay. And how do you find that place where you say, okay, I'm not going to worry? It might be a spiritual connection. It, might be you just disciplining that, that thought. Is it something you can do something about? Can you change whatever that is? Would have certainly changed that I wouldn't be in the house for a whole year. Okay. But I couldn't really change that. So make a decision not to worry. Worry takes a tremendous amount of energy and robs you of not only joy, but productivity. So you might want to conduct an emotional audit of yourself. And what are you doing in life that is not productive for you, not positive for you, and not for your higher good or your better good, which is your own happiness and positive energy, which is what, when transferred to other people, is going to get the happy response or the interested response or the productive response. We often say in our business, and it's so true, people listen to your feelings, not the actual words or information, but they listen to your feelings, whether they're positive or negative. So you want to make sure that you're, for your own emotional and productive well-being, that you work at being in a positive state instead of a negative one, so that is what you promote. And you really want to look at, live now, live happy now. This is something my brother and I, of course, we're thinking, okay, at this age, I guess we're in the fourth quarter. Okay. So how are we going to best take advantage of every moment to live in the happiest state possible? So eliminate negativity, as Maura said, and I've just mentioned, the media, television, everything you see and hear has to be digested, and it goes to your subconscious mind. Are you lifting yourself up, or are you allowing something else to, suppress you down? And it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to have frustrations. It's okay, but then determine how long it's going to last and how fast you're going to take control. So you alone are the one who decides, how long you're going to remain in an unsourceful state. So as we said, and Moore said it very well, just change your state, whatever you need to do. And for me too, I have a couple of things that, and we talk about write down, and I've written 2 or 3 down that have followed me around most of my life. I think that again, the Joseph Murphy books, Power of the Subconscious Mind, in Hill. There's some great things in his book. He studied success, the gratitude books, things of that nature. But 2 or 3 things that are really meaningful to you that more or less combat a negative thought. So you're replacing a negative thought with a positive thought. So you actually write those down. And, I've got 2 or 3 that are framed in the house so that, I can make sure they're right in front of my face on my desk, wherever. So you want to do this so that you can not only stay in a positive state, but it reinforces your belief system and it becomes anchored in your mind as a thought that becomes prevalent. So, you focus on really strengthening belief system. A number of things have been suggested over the years. Create a dream board. I thought this was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard the first time I ever heard it. I thought, putting pictures on up, that is just, what are they talking about? And so I was at a boot camp many years ago, and under the pressure of peer pressure, okay, because they had all these magazines and they were making these dream boards. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to do it. I don't want to look bad over here. And so I did. I cut out things out of the magazines that I really wanted. I put them up on the dream board. And that's been now about 12 years ago, and every one of those things came true. I'm still just shocked out of my mind. Okay, it works. So it's picturing, and again, pictures make a big impression on the subconscious as well as words. And that way, you're so powerful. Every one of us, everyone on this line, the brain power, the subconscious mental power that you have is so much greater than any of us ever realize. If you can harness that, and I'm working at that, and I'll probably work at it the rest of my life. And I don't think any of us ever achieve it to the total maximum of our ability. But really maximizing, your ability, and dream boards, it's amazing. So, this really helps as far as things like this. And maintaining a positive physiology, your whole, that's something else I work at, because I have a tendency to sit at a desk all day to kind of slump. And so you want to think about, physiology as well as a positive psychology. And of course, as I think it was Susie said when she started, is something about this being a personal growth and development. It's kind of like the sideline here that we didn't know we were going to get, but it does. This community really does bring this to you. And I think that personal growth and development happens when you really focus on how you can make a difference in other people's lives. I think that is not only a great emotional revenue, but it gives you a strength and belief in how you can be the person that makes the difference. And so often we do things, either out of kindness or generosity of spirit or time, and you never realize the power that has for somebody else. So again, if we talk about disciplining your disappointments, important to discipline those disappointments, because if you do not, it gives your subconscious mind permission to settle for a life that's less than it can be. And we want to all, live at the highest edge of our existence. We want to, really be able to take advantage of not only all the brain power that we have, we want to live exceptional lives. And that's something that I really feel like we offer people good health. We offer them, something that's very vital in life, which is the necessity to create, income to move out of financial fear and stress. We offer community, and we offer support to one another. And I think that it's a beautiful experience, but one that does need to be facilitated and disciplined. So Maura, anything else here? I think we're probably a few minutes past time, but hopefully has been something that's helpful to folks.
Well, I know I enjoyed it, Cheryl, and I really enjoy learning from you. And I think having a morning ritual is really important, but that's another topic, another day. I think we can close it up when you're ready, Cheryl.
And I think the other thing too is we all learn from one another. And I'll close it in saying this. I was just on a call yesterday with a number of the Australian team, and they have put together as an organization, because many sidelines come in together. They were a little competitive at first, and they calling it in-service leadership, and it's all about being supportive of each other and the community, and how do you serve people, and especially at this time when, if we look at what is one of the underlying needs, or you might that people have today, certainly the desire for good health, certainly that additional supplemental income if needed, but also there's loneliness is a huge issue, not only in our country but across the world. The isolation this year has caused, but even before that, and that looking at how you can be supportive of people, because with that comes loyalty to one another, trust, supporting each other's beliefs. I love it. They're all going to make a t-shirt that says leading from the back, meaning that, and this can be written on the back of their shirts, okay? Leading
I
from
love
the
that.
back. And what it means is that we're here to create, leaders. We're here to create the people that are going to be on the stage. We're here to build the kings and the queens of this profession, the people who are really going to lead and support others. So we're kind of leading from the back, so to speak, because you want to be the people, you want to be the person who is building the person who will be in front of the room receiving the accolades for their growth and development. So anyway, this is again, both last week and this week, was to really encourage you to, as we said earlier, take an emotional audit of where you are, where your thinking is, and really be the one who is in control of your thoughts and your mind, and that you put yourself in a position for success with positive thought. And as I said, not an easy thing to discipline, but a discipline that pays very, very well. So thank you, Moira, you and all your team, and comments and being with us tonight. And we want to invite all of you to invite people here, on Thursday nights. And we will, every few weeks, kind of get a collection of the things that you would like to hear about, talk about, and train on. And then, of course, story time to begin with. So thank you all. And
Thank you, Cheryl. It was fun.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Wonderful.
Good
All right.
night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Thank you. That was great.
Everybody.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Oh, thank you. It was
Thank you.
great.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Good night.
Mm.
Good night.
Thank